Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan.
We're going back in time with a good old-fashioned retrospect on one of our favorite movies of all time that I know is probably not on a whole lot of other people's list, but damn is it a good movie.
Well, it was a really weird situation, because this movie, it was a movie that a friend of mine, it was like, okay, at the time, I was in a long-distance relationship, and my girlfriend had to go to work, and my best friend who lived in town, he had to go to work, so that just left me and my best friend's wife kind of hanging out together, like, what do you want to do? She's like, well, I came across this movie called The Big Hit, you want to watch it? Like, okay. It was just this very weird situation.
It's got
like,
Marky Mark in it.
Yeah. She's like, I know you like the Marky Mark guy. I'm like, okay, sure, we'll see how this goes. And then I watched that movie. It was just one of those things like, what the fuck am I watching? Because it's just such a weird combination of things. And I'll be honest with you, it's not a perfect movie, but there's just some weird 90s charm about the movie. And it's just like, this movie could only be made when it was made. It's got like a lot of violence, a lot of weird, almost slapstick comedy,
but
and
it
then
works. It's
ska. You know?
Yeah. Then it's got the ultimate 90s soundtrack. Well, that was one of those movies I remember. You're like, oh, dude, you gotta check this.
I came back after I got back from visiting her, went to the pawn shop. Like, dude, you gotta check this.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, we were at the pawn shop. You're like, dude, you gotta get this one. You'll like this. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I take the movie and I go home and watch it, and it was one of those ones where like, all of a sudden it gets to like a scene in there. I think it was the one where Marky Mark's got the Asian girl and he's hiding her in different rooms, and I was all like, oh fuck, I've seen parts of this movie before. I remember me and my dad watched this on TV a long time ago. Like, it came back, and I was like, oh, because sometimes when you watch a movie on TV, it's almost like it doesn't register exactly what you're watching. And I think the difference is when you get a DVD or something, you know exactly what you're putting in. You're looking at the cover, you're looking at the back, you put the disc in, you've made all these decisions. Where on a TV, sometimes you're just flipping through, and you kind of get stuck on something, you end up watching it. So next thing you know, you forget the title, you forget what the hell it was, but you remember like the certain parts.
Well, I'm surprised it took us this long to talk about this movie. Because I remember our third episode, I don't remember like all of our early episodes. I remember our third episode was Total Recall, the Colin Farrell remake. And I lean in like, it's the jerk-off guy from The Big Hit.
Well, it's fun. We've mentioned The Big Hit many times on the podcast. We literally were going to do a retrospect on it almost like 8 months ago or something like that, because I remember I watched it and I looked up things, and all of a sudden then like more time went by, and somehow, some way, we just didn't get around to doing it. So finally we sat down and said, okay, we're going to do it again. Let's fucking watch Big Hit and, indulge in this movie and talk all about it, which is kind of fun because I've seen it now probably like 6 times by this point. Like, I've seen it quite a bit. And man, is it just a good, fun movie? Like,
all right, gentlemen, synchronize. Get ready in 3, 2, 1.
What's that?
Go!
I'm a contract killer. That's the only thing that I'm good at.
This is a bonus hit.
Without a doubt. 10,000 to whoever hits the big man. Non-dairy creamer?
Yeah.
I'm really sorry about the mess.
Don't get paid!
Thank you, sir.
This is gonna be the right time to tell them that we're engaged.
You seem like a nice enough German-Irish fella. Put. You're gonna put your father in an early grave.
Hit me?
Got a little present for you.
Oh, who is it?
Saturday night. I diced him up a little bit.
Did you clean him?
Oh, a little bit.
Ew. It's kind of cute. Who is that?
You sure you don't want to go on this little caper we got planned for tomorrow?
Oh, this is the girl?
No, it's your mammy.
This is a kidnapping, right?
That's right.
So what's up with you guys? You playing tribute to the Spice Boys or something?
Hey, boss, what's going on?
There has been an unauthorized kidnapping. The kidnappee happens to be my goddaughter.
What? Is that true?
The truth? Yeah, I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Shut up.
There's a hit squad coming for your ass right now. Get him. Get him! He's after all of us.
Knuckle up.
Let's work.
From the team that brought you Broken Arrow and Face Off.
You can't tell by the way I roll, shorty, that I'm a ladies' man, a businessman. Condos down the shore, multi-million pension plan, but it ain't in my plan to make moves without the fan. No, I keep it intact, real clef, do the track. John, play the Mac while I pay the tax. Business as usual, watching suspects.
hit.
Pam?
Yeah?
Were you gonna break up with me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's as 90s as fuck. I mean, the movie was made in 1996. It didn't come out until like 98, but dead center 90s. This is technically almost like Marky Mark's maybe like second main movie. I mean, he did a couple TV shows. The only thing I think that comes before this is Fear. The one where, he beats his chest. That movie where he's dating Reese Witherspoon, and then like the dad's like, I don't want you being here anymore. He's like, well, guess what? I'll fucking kill you. I'm Marky Mark.
Well, my favorite thing is, it's going to see off topic for a second, but still Marky Mark related. There's an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Dennis marries his high school sweetheart. He's like, this was a mistake. He's like, guess what? I don't want to be with you. Then all of a sudden she looks at him just like this dead stare and just starts hitting her chest like, what's he doing? He's doing the Fear. He's doing the Marky Mark. She's doing the Marky Mark. We got to get out of here. He run out the house.
And that's a great movie that a lot of people have never really seen. I think it was one of those ones like maybe if you were there and you happened to go to the theater at that time period, it probably only really appealed to somebody from the age of like 16 to like 25 at the time, because that's sort of the audience it's for. But it was one of those like random ones when somebody just gave me a box of VHSs. It was in there, and you're just watching, you're just putting tapes in. You don't even know what the fuck you're watching. Like, oh, Marky Mark, Reese Witherspoon, whatever, bloop, put that thing in. Let's see what this is all about. And then it's like, oh, this is actually kind of a cool movie. It's like scary. It's the scary boyfriend movie, but.
No, that one I've seen parts of it. I haven't seen the whole thing, but I know enough about it.
It's worth cutting out if you see it like for like a couple bucks. Pick it up.
Well, it was like, but this movie right here though, it is kind of like that movie, I imagine. This one, it's like every so often you can kind of see like, all right, that's numbers and statistics that make this look like that, but in the why they have this kind of music going here. But at the same time, it's almost like a time capsule. There's a time where you might roll your eyes in that and kind of chuckle. But now I'm at a point like, no, it's kind of a time capsule that really lets you know.
I like that. It's one of those ones like, it's weird. It's like when something comes out, there's that cool period. It's like, oh my god, this is like the most amazing thing here. I'm like here at the time, and then only a handful of years later, it always kind of like, oh, that seems so like old and dated, man. How many times are they gonna do that? But then you go a handful of more years later, and then you're like, oh, I kind of like that.
Well, there's some things I wonder how they're going to hold up. Because I remember, we'll come back to this movie in just a second, but like I remember there's that movie Sex Drive, and that's where whenever something funny would happen, they would show someone with a cell phone camera, like taking a picture of it or doing it, and then they cut to like a website somewhere of somebody laughing and pointing at like what they posted. Mm-hmm. Now that doesn't seem like a big deal, but I wonder if that's going to be one of those things like people, because now I kind of roll my eyes when I think about that. But now I'm wondering like, is that going to be like something people look at, oh, I remember that when they were just starting to go, look guys, the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
Social media, look,
all those ones. Well, there is those kind of things. And then in the long run, they become just like a historical like reference, I think, more than anything else. There's a period where it might seem kind of like outdated, but over time, it just goes like, no, this is just like what it was in this time period, and that's kind of cool. Mm-hmm. It's like, this is another one I look at. When you look at that new Underworld trailer for Underworld 5, it's like that movie looks as 2000s as fuck.
It does not look...
You would have never, 10 years ago, you would have never thought anything of it, but, when you look at that, it's like, oh my god, that's, takes me back to 2003.
Well, I remember when the Underworld 1 came out, I was really excited that I saw Underworld 2, and then I saw Underworld 3, and I was in all three of them. Number 3, I was starting to kind of peter off a little bit. That was the prequel one. But then, once I got to the fourth one, it wasn't that it was a bad movie. I disliked it. I'm like, I just don't care anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of like you get kind of burnt out on it. And I'm still looking forward to number 5. It's like, cool. Take me back to the 2000s.
I don't know. I just look at that. I just it looks like the last one. I can't really tell what's going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It looks exactly the same, but it's like, it has its audience. Who knows? Maybe this is the one where it's like Fast and Furious, where they suddenly actually we figured out what we were doing wrong with the first few, and now we got it ironed out. You know?
Got them dialed in even more.
Yeah.
Even though there's nothing really wrong with Fast and Furious 2 and 3, but...
Well, I mean, there's that whole thing where, 1, people liked, 2 and 3...
One's pure amazing. I know 2's kind of it's made for, only the car people, generally, at the end of the day.
2 and 3, it's kind of they're doing a little bit more of an experimental thing. They're not entirely sure what they're doing with it. Then they get to 4, I'm like, oh, wow, we got a real big response for 4. Let's do a little bit more of that for the 5th one.
Yeah.
5th one comes out, everyone's jizzing on each other over the movie. And then, from there on in, it's what we got what you got. Each one's expanding it, making it more insane than the last one.
Yeah, exactly. All those kinds of things like that. But going back to fucking the big hit, this movie, really what it is, it's about a group of guys. They're just hired hitman. You got Marky Mark. You got Lou Diamond Phillips from our kind of retrospect fame of Young Guns. And then you got Bookeem, what's his name? Bookeem
Woodbine.
Woodbine.
This movie made me a fan of that dude.
Yeah.
I remember looking back on like old episodes of Smallville, and there's an episode where he was like the freak of the week, and he was this guy who would just shake uncontrollably, and if he got a hold of somebody, he would like accidentally like snap their neck or something. So
It's like Seizure Man.
And he was like a guy, he was like a friend of the Kents, and he would just be like this. He'd like, I'm hoping it's the same guy. I remember he was in an episode of Smallville. I'm pretty sure this was it. But like, and then like he was like a friend of the Kents, and he kind of was holding people hostage. Like, I'm not a bad guy. I just need to prove that Luther was up to some bad shit. You know, that kind of thing. And then unfortunately he dies. And he was also, and if I remember correctly, I'm hoping I'm not just mixing up with someone else. I'll look it up in a minute. There's the guy in The Rock who was Ed Harris's right-hand man, who's all like, I want my fucking money!
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Boy, I can't tell you on that one. It's been a while actually since I've seen The Rock.
I'm looking that up now, but yeah. I just want to make sure, just so I know I don't send people down the wrong line. Like, you just mixed up 3 different actors.
But yeah. But, you know, it's one of those ones, like, it's just these like, hitman guys, and the movie's kind of... It's weird. Like, it starts off, it's, you know, they're going on this big hit thing right here. They're going to, you know, just do their job, show who they are.
Well, the very beginning, it's even kind of weirder because it's like, it's almost like a comedy, but it's like almost like a Tarantino, like Marky Mark's unloading body parts into like a bathtub.
Is that the very beginning of the movie?
That's the very beginning,
okay.
before they even go on the hit.
Well, yeah, and it's got this just dark humor. Like, he's literally just destroying this body. And he's doing it as a favor for somebody else. It's not even his own killer. He's like, I'm doing a favor here. Don't worry about it. And then his secondary girlfriend comes home, and she's like, what the fuck are you doing? And everything like that. He's like, oh, I'm cleaning this up for whatever, you know. I think it's for Bookeem's character. He's like, I'm doing him a favor. Or maybe it's Vince, the other guy.
It's Vince, the other guy.
Yeah. And then she comes by, she's like this. She actually steps in, and she goes, oh, well, he's kind of cute. So it has, like, even jokes in there, even though it's, like, the super dark humor. But... And I guess it is kind of coming right off of Tarantino, because it would have been right after Pulp Fiction. I don't even think Jackie Brown would have... By the time they were making this movie, Jackie Brown might have just came out. You know, so... Literally, just the first couple Tarantino movies. I guess you would have had, like, True Romance and stuff like that. So maybe this is, like, the start of kind of, like, I guess you could say the slight clones of Tarantino style, which is never a bad thing.
Kind of going back to that, this same podcast... same actor, different episode. He was also... he was the first dude to die in 3,000 Miles to Graceland.
Oh, yeah. That's
he was the
right.
Black Elvis.
Yeah, he was the Black Elvis.
Which, yeah, was very underused right there in that movie. And I actually put my own foot in my mouth right here. He actually was not in Smallville, but he was in everything else I named off.
Okay, well, that's cool. And the other interesting, too, about this is they got some big, like, producers on it. You got John Woo producing it, and then you also got Wesley Snipes. Because the thing is, this movie's also kind of like somewhat like, not like a full-on martial arts, but like a shoot-'em-up Hong Kong film. Like, it's got that style, and it's even got a Chinese director doing it. It's
he did a Jackie Chan movie.
Yeah, he did Crime Story, which that was kind of the big one. The other movies I didn't know any of them were, but I knew what Crime Story was.
Well, he'd be doing
Che Kirk Wong, that's his name.
And he'd almost be doing like a lot of it would be that very stylized Hong Kong like kung fu gunplay, like almost break dancing while shooting kind of stuff.
Yeah,
kind of like Equilibrium was trying to kind of like get the last kicks of that on its way out.
Yeah, or then you think of like movies like the John Woo ones, like Hard Boiled or
The Killer.
Yeah, The Killer, like that, like those movies. That's what it kind of reminded me of.
You know what this really kind of reminds me of, and I mean this in the best way. We'll go into more spoilers in a minute, but it really reminds me of kind of like The Killer meets Hot Fuzz meets.
Even though Hot Fuzz is, yeah.
I know, but I mean that kind of like
the
tone.
vibe. If you're trying to sell it today,
Encino Man.
I can see a little bit of the Encino Man-ness there. I definitely
the wacky kind of humor, the colors, the look. The Pulp Fiction, yeah, I see the Pulp Fiction, yeah, a little bit. I say those three because, you know, it has kind of that weird, like, 90s, like, mold that it's fitting, but yet it's like, there's something at the time that probably seemed really tacky, but now, and it even does look kind of tacky, but there's something about it which just kind of brings back memories, and you forgive it for that.
Yeah,
and then the whole Hot Fuzz, because it almost seems kind of like, it's not jam-packed with action. There's a lot of comedy in it, but the action that's in it is really good. And it's even the movie's self-aware to a certain extent.
Well, and the thing, too, is, like, the comedy, there's the only one, like, really kind of, like, sort of take you out of the moment slapstick scene. It's the one, it's actually right in the very beginning of the movie, too. And it's the only time, as they go on this big, huge hit and everything like that. And, of course, Marky Mark's in there. They're all dressed up as kind of, like, these kind of work crew guys, and they go into this place and shoot up this bunch of mobsters and everything like that. And Marky Mark's the only one doing any of the killing. Everybody else makes it sound like they're backing him up. Well, Bookeem, he had another thing. He was taking out the electricity, so I guess you could say he's fine there. But of course, the guy Vince, I don't know what the actor's name is, but that guy's character, and then Lou Diamond Phillips. You know, they're saying that they're backing him up, but they're clearly not. But then they're sitting there at one point, and they're like drinking coffee. He's like, "You want non-dairy creamer in that? Yeah, sure. I'll take some non-dairy creamer." That's the only time I feel like the movie sort of takes me out for the moment, because the rest of it, all the comedy's all natural. That's the only time where it's just like, okay, that seems like a little much. Why do they have coffee cups and everything
like ready to go? And like little plates, they're like coffee cups.
Yeah, they got the little plates. That's like the only time I feel like it kind of takes it out, because the rest of the comedy in there is all like legitimate stuff and more of like that kind of like trying to hide it from everybody else in the family, because nobody, you know, Marky Mark, he's about to get married to Christina Applegate, but nobody knows that he's this killer person. They all think he's a computer salesman person, you know, and her family comes up and they fucking hate him because he's not Jewish. It's
only one of them hates him, the mom.
Well,
the dad's just kind of
like... The dad just doesn't give a flying fuck anymore. He's just at that point of life where he could, like, if somebody... He doesn't care.
He doesn't care, but he actually really grows to like Marky Mark, and it's one of those things. At first, he's like, his name's Melvin. We should mention Melvin. How many action movies have a main character named Melvin? But he's at first he's just kind of like whatever. I kind of feel bad for him.
His name's Melvin Smiley. That's what it was too. It's like the most weirdest fucking name.
Melvin
my name's
Smiley.
Melvin Smiley.
I'm Melvin Smiley. How you doing? Yeah. No, but like he has this. The dad almost feels bad. You can kind of see it. He's like a recovering alcoholic, and he doesn't want to say to him like, just run. And then like at some point he does. He just says like, you know what? He's a good kid. I like him, and you don't deserve him.
Yeah, he does kind of come around, but it has like that Jewish racism. For some reason, Jewish people are always allowed to be more racist than others. I don't know why that is, but nobody fucking questions that. But you don't see as much anymore. But back in the olden days, you'd always see that in a movie where it's like, you can't fucking marry him. He's a fucking Catholic. You know, you're a Jew.
I think it's just. I don't even think it's so much.
He's
Jewish.
Fucking Marky Mark.
Feel it. Nah.
No, he's gonna ruin your good Jew blood.
I don't even think that's almost like a Jewish thing. I think it's more of just an old-timey thing. It's kind of held over from previous generations.
Well, I think so. It's like old people racism, where it's like grandparents racism. It's not really like they mean to be racist, like burn him at a cross.
I don't even think it's that kind of. It's that old-timey, just like chiseled into you racism, where it's more like it's not that like they see like a black person like there's one, but it's more like it's one of those things kind of like. You could be friends with him. You could hang out with him, but marry him.
Don't even touch him, though.
It's that. I think it's that kind of racism.
Yeah.
And I'm not defending. She's not a very likable character, so don't take it as me defending her. But it's more of that.
No, I know.
It's a holdover from that.
Yeah, it's that old timey. It's almost comes back to like
it kind of goes to anything.
The thing where it's like, oh, he's a prince. You're just a peasant. What do you mean you can't be married? And like that kind of concept.
It's a holdover from that whole thing.
We're all people. I mean, fuck.
We're all people, man.
We're all people, man. Fuck. If you want to marry a horse if you want. I don't fucking care, man. It's like...
I want to say there was this... Garfunkel and Oates, they put the song, like one Republican senator said, like, well, if we let gay people marry, what's going to stop, someone from marrying a duck? And they put up this song.
A duck of all animals, too.
Yeah, they put up this song like, oh, he read our minds. We want to fuck ducks. So they do like this super sexy...
duck.
Although they're a girl band, but they
Who are they?
Their name is Garfunkel and Oates. They're a comedy band.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, is that like where Simon Garfunkel or?
That's the joke of it. But
that's what I thought it was. I'm like, is this like where they split?
The second name of like each of those other bands. Yeah. But they have like this, like basically a sex song, like, oh, we love ducks. He's alright, just almost like just shitting on this Republican.
Oh, that's funny.
But anyway, yeah, back to this though. How do we get to there?
Well, we were talking about the family and all that stuff.
Yeah. Anyway,
how they just hate Marky Mark.
Yeah.
It's that thing. It's just like.
And basically, what ends up happening. The big thing of the movie is he's kind of living a double life in more than one way. He is pretending to be a computer salesman when he's actually a hitman, and he's also has a girlfriend even though he's engaged. And the girlfriend, like the thing is, even though he's like this badass who can just take down anybody.
He's like the super pushover, like when it comes to everything that's not like violence.
He wants so hard for everybody to like him, and that almost
for everybody to be happy.
And that gets him in this weird situation of where he has this girlfriend who's always talking down to him, talking shit to him, as well as Christina Applegate, not really talking shit to him, but almost kind of like using him a lot. And then also at his job, because there's that job where at the beginning of the movie, Lou Diamond Phillips he says like, "Hey man, I came in, and I got I killed them."
They're like, whoever puts the kill to the main mob boss guy, they get a bonus. Mm-hmm. And of course, Marky Mark does all the killing, 100% of it. They do absolutely nothing. Mm-hmm. But Marky Mark, they're sitting there at the office, and Lou Dan Phillips is like saying, "Yeah, I got the last kill," and then it just cuts to a scene of all like the other 3 guys just standing around shooting a dead body. He was still fucking breathing.
I got him, and then like Marky Mark's just not in a very angry way, just like, okay, here you go.
Yeah, like Lou Dan Phillips is technically the bad guy of the movie.
Oh, he is.
And
definitely.
he does play like a good bad guy, even though he's kind of like one of those kind of characters you kind of hate. I think it still works though, like just like the assholeness of him.
Well, he's so much of an asshole. It comes off, and it's not something I'm not used to. Maybe I'll be honest. I've not seen Lou Diamond Phillips in a lot of stuff. I just feel like he's just one of those actors like Lou Diamond Phillips, because after watching Young Guns and this. I know I've seen him more stuff, but those are the 2 things that come to mind.
Yeah.
And, which this one, people go, really, this one? but, it's just, this is like most, like, animated I've seen him.
Yeah.
And he's also, funny thing, I think his character's name is Cisco.
Yeah, the character's name is Cisco in this one.
So, and he's just, he's just so over the top in this movie. There's just something like, you can't really hate him. He's doing really shitty, despicable things. But you just can't really hate him too much. Because he's just so over the top, and I don't know.
Once they get this, they get some of this core. This is the kind of the main part of the story. Cisco obviously he's like, I got this job we can do. It's on the side. We'll make a little bit of extra cash. I need to buy my fucking yacht and whatnot. And
that's his big dream, a yacht.
Yeah, his big dream's a yacht. And so he's like, there's this guy. He's the richest guy from Hong Kong, or no, richest guy from Japan. Even though I think the characters are actually played by
they're Chinese people,
but they're Japanese characters. He's like. He's got all this money. He's like, we just got to capture his fucking daughter and ask for $1 million ransom. Simple, easy, we'll be done in one day. Bam, bam. And, first Mark was like, well, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that, I'll think about it, Cisco. And then all of a sudden, his secondary girlfriend, she's like, oh, I need $30,000 from you, motherfucker. So he's like, well, I guess I got to do this job then to get that money so I can pay off my debts. Mm-hmm. So they end up doing it, and they go to capture this girl, which realizes later on that the father actually bankrupts and all his money on this, making the most expensive movie of all time, starring himself. And all these other kind of funny like gags that they have with it. Like he made all these like giant like stand-ups that were all made out of pure gold and everything like that.
It was like Taste the Gold, the name of the movie, or Golden Touch or something like that.
Yeah, it's like The Golden Touch. It's just him like holding a woman. Just has like that old-fashioned, almost like 1940s, like super like, like, here's the strong man and, the helpless woman. Here, he'll fight to save the day. That old-fashioned, like, in a sense, warrior, serial kind of style movies.
And the thing about it is, so the plan is to kidnap the girl, his daughter. So they go to kidnap his daughter. I read actually an article. Originally, she was meant to be in high school.
Because they want to do the anime thing.
Yeah, they want to do the Japanese anime thing. But then they just said, this might actually, where this thing goes, it might seem a little kind of racy and kind of rapey, more so than it kind of already is.
Well, I think it's like in the U.S., that's always the hard thing that they have is, it's like a lot of times with video games, like a lot of times the girls and all kinds of games, everything from Final Fantasy to Dead or Alive and all that stuff, they're all like a couple years younger in the Japanese versions. But in the U.S., they always like push them up like past 18 and above, which in a sense makes more sense to me because when you kind of go like, some of those kids, like even like Dead or Alive, like if you told me that all those girls are supposed to be 15, I'm like, they all look like they're like 25. It's like,
really? They're all like 15 in Japanese versions?
Well, in Japan, they're all like, like 16 probably is like what their age is there.
I think it's one of those things, and this isn't me trying to like defend that, but I think it's one of those things they're like, I can't remember the name of it. Like,
well, their legal age is 16.
So here, where people push like, oh fuck, 18, or I think there it's just kind of like or sometimes even people fantasize 17. Sometimes like, oh, it's on the cusp,
Yeah.
And here, I think it's one of those things. It's one of those things back there, like, oh, it's 15. Where here, it just sounds like, what the fuck, 15? Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, because there's like the racy thing is 15, where here the racy thing is 17, but so they just bump it up, and that's why they put her in college instead.
Which is, I think that was a smart move actually.
I think producer-wise, yeah, I mean, like I could see where in a sense they're going for like, let's do an anime movie before anybody's fucking doing an anime movie.
I think that it's also like. Well, even that context, even if she was like 16, he's probably like... Marky Mark was young when we made this. He was like 27, 26.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he wasn't too old. He was like, maybe 25 even.
So that's still kind of old for like a 26-year-old guy dating like a 16-year-old. So college age, I think, makes a lot more sense. But anyway, so he has to pick her up, and he's being really friendly. And then the most douchiest, stereotypical, like
college
entitled
nerd.
college, like... gets in the car with her, and he almost gets to the point where he's just like kissing her so much.
Like, that guy's rapey.
And she's just kind of like pushing him off her lightly, like, I'm sorry, just no. But then it reaches this point where he's full on just trying to fucking rape her in the back of the car. Marky Mark just rolls on the window, shoots him in the back of the head, just keeps driving.
I know, I love that part. Just like there was a problem, he needed to solve it. Okay, like,
and then later he says she's all like just petrified, just kind of covered in blood. And then he looks to her and he says like, "I'm sorry about your friend, but I just didn't like the way he was treating you." Just that
just so nice.
Marky Mark kind of style.
That's what makes it, because it's just like the killer with a heart, almost kind of thing.
Yeah. And then like it's all some of the small things. Something like, okay, you're gonna leave. We're gonna send a ransom letter to your father. So say what's on here. And they actually kind of some of the small things. She's all like reading it. Like she's like, I need 1,000 dollars. Just like, wait, read it. And then he's like, they just keep on misspelling it. She keeps on like, I'm reading what you have on there. It says doolars. Well, you know what it's supposed to say. No, I don't, because you can't spell.
Yeah. So she does kind of like stand her own there without just being kind of like helpless and scared. So it's like, no, I don't give a flying fuck what you do.
Yeah, like she's been through this before.
Mm-hmm. I guess when you do have like one of the richest fathers, it's like, it's a common thing.
Yeah. Which they do this thing where at some point they get across, like before he gets the phone call, like they'd say, well, why can't... Everyone's like, I can't take her for the reason. So, of course, they throw her on to Melvin. Melvin Smiley. Yeah. I don't know. It's just one of those... It's
such a weird name. Like, it's just like, it's amazing.
Hearing him say it, too.
It's like, it's amazing that that writer kind of lets it go. And then it's just, too, it's like everybody else around them's like, oh, yeah, that's totally fine.
That seems like the one they landed on. I guess just its most unthreatening name, which is maybe the joke.
Oh, which I will have to say is, this is the interesting about that writer, is, this is the other movie he did. For as good as movie this is, he did the Dragon Ball Evolution script.
Really?
Now, I don't know if he could have maybe done the first draft, because that's the thing, though. Is he could have done, like, maybe this awesome draft, and then it got script doctored. You never know. And then in the long run, he's going to get the blame for it, even though he might not have done anything wrong.
Yeah, I mean, that's one reason why if I did go into film, I wouldn't want to be just the writer, just because you never know. Like, that guy's movie fucking sucks. Like, no, you didn't read the original version. Fuck.
Yeah, but nobody knows.
Yeah.
So who knows? He could have been maybe not the main writer, but at the same time, it's like his name was on there, so... I mean, whatever.
Yeah,
He's still writing movies, who the fuck cares? At the end of the day, he's getting a paycheck.
Yeah, exactly, so it's, I'm not going to hold that against him. A job's a job.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you were about to say something, actually.
I can't remember where I was going with that, but...
Well, anyway, he then takes... He's in watching her, and he's watching her at her place, at his place, and that's when he forgets that his in-laws, or his potential in-laws, are coming home.
Yeah, well, I think Christina Applegate just, like, says that to him. Like, he didn't know anything about it.
Mm-hmm. And then it becomes this kind of game of him just hiding her from room to room, away from everybody.
Yeah, and that's what it means. Like, I feel like the comedy there all feels natural. It doesn't feel like slapstick or out of the way. It's like, oh, no, that's just really just trying to sneak somebody through.
Though the part when they initially get before that scene, like the lead up to it, they're playing that ska music, and they have all these guys in button-up shirts and sunglasses pushing their lawnmowers out in sync, mowing their own lawns.
Well, that's supposed to be the thing. It's just like how suburban life, because that's where Marky Mark lives. He just lives in this like nice suburban neighborhood. But they always, that's the thing about suburbia. Everybody's the same. All the houses look the same. Everybody's car looks the same. It's like I would say maybe you could say it's slightly slapsticky, but
I get that.
It's not that far off though. I think that's the thing though. It's pretty realistic.
I get what they're trying to do, but it just literally looked like the opening to like a Big Fish video with the music and that. It seems so weird. You would not imagine that scene right there is the beginning of the same movie where he's just dropping a bunch of body parts into a bathtub.
And fucking disposing of them.
Like the Professional or something like that.
Yeah, it's because it's got that mix in there, which it's more just to me reminds me it's like that kind of movie where it's when you love so many different action movies. And it's almost like then you start finding comedy in it where it's like it wasn't there for the people that initially saw the movie, but when you've watched them so many times, you start finding all these things that makes you laugh, but in like good ways, and that's sort of like what comes together in this whole movie. And I think that's also what makes it just such a. I think the thing is, I will say this: I don't think there's a whole lot of movies that are similar to it. You know what I mean?
No.
It's very unique in its own way, just by combining so many different elements in one.
Mm-hmm.
As you said, like I think the Encino Man one, because I think it's got that weird like. Almost like with the soundtrack and just kind of like.
Well, when they're at what's his name, Lou Diamond Phillips' base of operations for the ransom.
Before
They got that
buddy there,
whose character's name is Gump.
Yeah.
The whole thing with that is originally, well, not originally. First off, it's just one of those like kind of like sort of 90s racist jokes. Her father's about to commit suicide by doing the old fashioned seppuku, yeah, and then gets a call.
And he's just like in this ginormous like mansion that has nothing left in it anymore. Just like he's just there by himself. And there's a scene even when he's like losing everything where he tries to sit down on a chair and they pick it up and pull it out of his way and all kinds of stuff like that. They're just taking everything he owns.
Mm-hmm. And then you just have like we find out that the girl is actually the goddaughter to their boss.
Yeah, to Marky Mark and Lieutenant Phillips' like big boss. So they're all interconnected, but they didn't know that right away.
They didn't know that. So then he calls Lieutenant Phillips over like, I want you to find the motherfucker who kidnapped her, and I want you to kill him, and get the girl back. And from there, it's Lieutenant Phillips playing it off like Melvin did it. Wasn't his plan.
Yeah.
And before they do that, he goes and silences his sidekick, the character Gump, which I'll say Lou Diamond Phillips's hideout where he had that guy at, it looked like the set to a Nickelodeon sitcom. Like it was like it looked like the hangout. Like these kids would go to like, oh, we're here at our shack, who's paying the rent on it? They're what rent?
Yeah, what rent? Yeah, it just had like all these just like fun, like almost like toys and everything like that, and they had like the original PlayStation in there and all kinds of just different things going on.
Laura could have been like a Power Ranger, like Power Rangers Rec Center or something like that,
There's just so much stuff going on. Then they got their like Trace Buster and all their computers and everything like that in there.
And then they get there and Lieutenant Phillips kills that guy. Says, he told me it was Melvin. We gotta go after Melvin now. So then it becomes a chase of Melvin trying to get the girl out of there.
Yeah. And then, Bookeem even gives him a call. He's like, oh, man, you got to get the fuck out of here. He's like, fucking Lou Diamond Phillips, he's crazy. He's coming after all of us. I'm getting out of here right now. You got to do the same.
Here's the thing. We missed
the funniest joke in the entire movie.
Bookeem is just kind of a character that kind of comes and goes. I think his character's name is Duke or Dutch or something.
I think it's Duke.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where his character, he's just one of the funniest parts of this movie. We mentioned this before in other episodes, but never this one so far. His whole thing is he just learned to jerk off. He's never jerked off because, as he said, I've never had to jerk off before. Because I've been getting laid since I was 12.
Yeah, he says 10 even.
10, yeah. And then what's up happening is he's Crunch. His name's Crunch.
Okay, so yeah, nowhere near as close to
it was his name. There's an H in there somewhere. Or K, I don't know. Or U. There's a U. There you go. There's a time I usually know my alphabet. Anyway, there was a.
So
he's always jerking off, and like jerking off's his new thing. He's like turning down pussy to just go jerk off.
He's even telling Marky Mark, like, man, you gotta straight jerking it, man. That's how you get it. Then you don't have any of these problems anymore.
And he just says like, I've been straight jacking.
And he's always got like a hand exerciser going on. Sometimes he's got like the gripper, then he's got like the big like springy apparatus thing, so you can do it both directions.
and then like when he's actually calling Marky Mark to give him the heads up. The funny thing is, he's like at an airport and he's buying like a thing of lotion. He says like, "No, that's the aloe vera shit. I want lavender." They pull it away. Like, yeah, they give him like the one in bulk.
Yeah, so he's all flipping out on it. No, it's like one of the funniest jokes I think in any movie, just about.
And then that's the big. Well, we'll get to it at the end, but I think we mentioned other podcasts before. But then basically it just becomes a chase after a while, and there's this whole period. This is the one part of the movie that's actually kind of awkward to me. First off, they kind of he gets his girlfriend Christina Applegate and the in-laws out of the house, and so he has a minute just with the girl. And she's all tied up. The schoolgirl, I should say. She's all tied up and all that. She's a hostage. But it's almost like he's picking her up and moving her more than he actually needs to. She can still walk totally fine.
Yeah.
But you still got this guy picking up this small Asian girl, throwing her over her shoulders, sitting her up, lifting her up, wiping her mouth and all that kind of stuff. It just almost for a while,
like
it just
that
seems
part where it's kind of like Ghost or whatever, and they're like making dinner and they got the song playing in the background too.
Yeah, and then like it gets, there's all like this sexual tension.
Well, I feel like that was right there where like the producers probably stepped in and go, no, she is not fucking 16 years old if you're gonna have this scene in here.
Like that's what I'm imagining. Like if I could not show this movie to my hardcore feminist friends, they just give me this dirty ass look. Like the rest of the movie's pretty good, right?
Well, at the same time, though, it's not like he's doing anything wrong. It's like, well, it's one's like that's actually like he's just being a real nice guy, and just.
Well, it's one of those things, I guess, just because it just comes across like I'm gonna use like a term that I've heard a couple of times. I'm not trying to be too like fucking like Huffington Post about it or anything, but like yellow fever. Like there's guys who just have this thing. They just got a fetish for Asian girls. And
I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it's just he takes this person hostage, and even though like he almost ends up really liking her at the same time, I think it's just the Marky Mark way of Smiley being this guy who almost in a sense he would probably fall for like almost any like nice seeming girl at first because they probably. Christina Applegate was probably nice at first. And the black lady was probably nice at first, though you don't even know. Though that time is long since gone. Yeah. That just more sounds like one of those relationships where it's like the painful like
it's nothing that's gonna kill the movie for me, but it's one of those things I just tend to notice. You know what I mean? And I can see.
Yeah. It's one of those.
I guess it's just one of those things because like she could fucking easily walk over there herself. She can get up on the table herself. It just feels almost kind of like fetishy than when he's all just like picking her up and she's still bound up and tied up.
Tied up because he doesn't.
She's tied up. I mean, you could still tell her hands are loose enough to actually move around and all that. But whatever,
Yeah. Yeah, as I said, I don't think there's anything too. I mean, yeah, if somebody really wanted just to pick apart a movie, I guess.
I'm not picking it apart. I'm not being that guy.
If you want to be that person like, I don't like that rape scene in a movie. It's like, well, that's just life. I'm sorry.
Well, there's no rape. There's an almost rape scene. There's an almost rape scene, but no rape scene.
Almost rape scene by the fucking nerdy college.
But that guy gets shot in the head, so that's okay.
Yeah.
Rape is treated with a bullet in this movie, so there you go.
Yeah, that scene's probably, if there was one worse scene, I think that scene's actually worse than that. I mean, it all comes around, but...
I mean, well, that whole part, I'm not trying to, like, totally shit on the movie for this, but it's just one of those things. I know if I showed this movie, if I was watching this movie with a girl, they just was turn and just give me this dirty-ass look. I just know it'd be like that kind of thing.
You think so?
I think so, depending on the girl.
Yeah, I think, if they're a judgy, racy person.
They're a judgy, racy person.
I mean, I know there's a part too where like they have like the turkey in their base and they're like fisting the fucking
and
they're looking at each
that
other.
part's just funny, just because I'm not sure if that's meant to be funny or if it's.
I think it's meant to be funny.
Just flat out, just like fisting the turkey.
Like that would be maybe the part too that if they didn't know extreme comedy, maybe that might bother them. But
And then I got this stuff on me. Looks like you have to sit me up on the table. And then that's when she hits him in the side of the head with a hammer.
But she was playing it. The whole. I think the whole thing about that thing though is she was trying to come on to him, realizing that his weakness is being nice, and then she could try to escape.
And then he's very competent later, like, "Hey, I get it, I understand."
That's like, because he's so nice.
He's so nice. Like, look, I'd try to get out of here too if I was you, but I got a job.
And then there's this other really funny running joke going on the whole time too, and this is like totally what makes it 90s. But there's this like big top movie store guy, and this guy's like super fucking like nerdy and over the top. He's like
Archie times 10.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, Mr. Smiley, I see you have a copy of King Kong Lives that's not in here anymore. Well, there was a little 10-year-old girl who wanted to rent it, but guess what? I had to tell her, no, Mr. Smiley has it. You can't have it. He's just
funny thing is, you are not exaggerating.
I am not exaggerating. That's like identical, like fucking spot
on.
The
voice, whoever comes into your head. When you hear that voice, it is exactly what he's on screen.
And it is, and this keeps coming up, and he keeps asking for he's getting really threatening. He's even got like this wanted poster with Polaroids. It almost looks very scary of Big Top Video's most wanted. And the thing too is you might say that joke sounds over the top. That is really not over the top for the 90s. People fucking took that shit serious in a lot of movie places.
Well, I remember there was this one time, Time machine, children. At Blockbuster Video, we returned a movie, and I want to say we returned it on time, maybe 1 or 2 days late, but for whatever reason, their system was fucked up. They're like, yeah, this movie is going to be $120.
Like 4 times more than the movie's worth.
And just how would I just buy the fucking movie? My mom wasn't that much of a swear, but when I was a little kid, she's like, How about I just buy the fucking movie? I'm not paying $120 for that, you know?
Yeah.
I turned it, maybe it was a day or two late, but your system sucks or something, 'cause I know for a fact I'd not return it that late, and I'm not paying $120 for that movie. And it was just one of those things.
Well, Blockbuster was always like, they're like the worst about that for the longest time. They like, before they died, they kind of fixed all like the error of their ways, I guess you could say, but...
Well, you know, there'd be a little bit of a late fee, but then there's this point where it'd be like, all right, if you wait a certain amount of time, just buy the movie. Then they just reach a point like, look, we'll suck your dick. All right, just you know what? Here, just keep it. Just
keep the fucking movie. You obviously like it that much.
Yeah. No more late fees. Just enjoy it, you know?
But yeah, like, I remember that was like the thing, too, because back in the day, people would not go to Blockbuster because of how bad their late fees were, you know? And the smart one was when the mostly mom and pop businesses did this, where it's like, okay, for every day you have, that's just an extra $1 more, so... You know, if you keep it a couple extra days, what?
And then when it reaches a certain point, you just own the movie.
You
bought it.
That's how it should be. It's like once you hit $20, it should just be yours.
Yeah, and that's funny. This movie was really pointing that out at the time, was how much they could be like, "Hey, it's late. Where is it?" You know, it'd always be some.
And they're always like peer pressuring you, pushing you up in the corner.
And the thing is, because I remember there were times where it was like just some like 16-year-old kid. It would be one of two 16-year-old kids. One would be like the kid in this movie who just got a little bit of power and just suddenly just became, oh, this is mine, you know. And then there's the other kid who's just like, look, I'm just doing my job. I don't want to be this guy, you know.
I want to get my promotion next week, so just
look. The thing says you owe this much. I don't know what to tell you, you know. I think we've all been there at some job at some point.
Yeah, exactly right. It's like, I don't make the fucking rules, but yeah, this is what it is, so go fuck it.
Sorry.
Yeah, so there's that poor bastard, too, but...
This kid's not one of them.
No, this is the guy. I think he's supposed to be like the owner of the place, even though he's kind of like a kid.
He looks like he's 18.
Yeah, like he's 18. He's probably like his dad owns it. And he's like, whatever, Billy, you fucking work it if you want. Or Archie or Andy or whatever you want to call this guy.
Something with an A.
Yeah, A sounds a little bit more right, but... But no, so this thing keeps going on. It's like always like King Kong Lives is like the movie itself. So it's kind of like a random ass movie too. Just a random like King Kong sequel.
And then when he's on the like... as he's trying to escape Blue Diamond Phillips, because eventually what happens is all the other hitmen come to his house with his in-laws there. He has the girl hiding in his car, and when that's how China Chow, is that her name? China Chow?
Yeah, that's I think the actress' name.
And when he's sitting there in the car, when they come in, they're having dinner, they're having lunch. And this kind of very, almost like Inglorious Bastards, like just this Inglorious Bastards. This almost like polite but yet tense exchange. You know, they kind of know the other knows something, and they're both trying.
They all got guns underneath the table and everything like that.
And then a big action scene comes out.
What happens to Fun-Luck is he's been drinking alcohol all day long. He ends up like throwing up on Lou Diamond Phillips, and that's when right when that happens, then all the gunfire just happens.
Yeah, and then from there, this big battle scene happens, and that's where Christine Applegate and the parents get out of there. As he's in the middle of the shootout, Marky Mark looks over to like the mother-in-law, saying like, "I'm sorry about this. You know, I wish you guys a safe trip, okay?"
And then he looks at Christine Applegate. It's like, "Were you really gonna break up with me today?" She's like, "Yeah." Like as it's going on,
he's like, "Okay,
oh, okay." It just kind of goes along with it.
I think that's what I like about the movie, because everybody is just so, all right.
Yeah, and I think that's perfect. Like, there's no like, oh, what the... No have to go into like some super dramatic thing. It's just kind of like, yeah, okay, I accept it. That's what you want.
And then from there, this big car chase scene happens, and he comes across his girlfriend he had on the side, as well as her guy that she was saying, and he said, look, I got you the money, I don't know what happened to the money. He says, well, you fucked up, the money's not here. Like, I thought I got you that money. And then finds out that she does have the money, and she also has this copy of King Kong Lives.
Yeah, like, it's like, for some reason, when she was, like, leaving town, the only thing she grabbed was the money in King Kong Lives.
So then what's funny is, because he comes across, they go off the road, and it's an editing mess up. And not really an editing mess up, it's more, it threw me off for a second. Because he destroys one car, it explodes, but they show that right as their car spins out. So for a second, it almost looks like Marky Mark, just execution style, kills the ex-girlfriend and her boyfriend. So I was like dying of it, like hysterically. Like, wait a minute. Oh yeah, they cut to a different. It was just a weird editing job right there. But I remember I just died nearly of laughter. Like, did he just fucking kill her?
Which would have been hilarious anyways. Because the whole time she's kind of like really obnoxious too. So.
Mm-hmm. But no, he lets her live because that way he can get the money, the VHS, as well as her car to go into the next spot.
Yeah. And
Which, go ahead, sir.
I was just going to say, because then it just continues on, because Lieutenant Phillips is pretty much like bound and determined to fucking stop Marky Mark, just so he doesn't get killed by the boss.
Mm-hmm.
And then they actually end up pretty much at the Big Top Video to have this huge fight scene.
During the midst of all this, he's like, I should probably drop up this video since I'm here.
Yeah, he's still trying to do the right thing. But, I kind of think about the movie things. Realistically, what could, if you just decide, like, to not ever pay that late fee, like, what could they really do? There's nothing they could do.
No.
They just had, like, fear put into it, but it's not like your credit was going to get bad. It's not like worst case scenario, you just couldn't go back to that one store.
I mean, would they really pursue you through a case?
No, because it wouldn't be worth for their money. They might pay collections for 6 months, but most companies will stop paying those collection fees because it's just a waste of their money after about 6 months to a year.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
that goes to show that if you don't want to pay something, if you live in America, just don't fucking pay it. It'll eventually go away unless it's taxes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Unless it's taxes, everything else will mostly just go away.
Find a way. Taxes find a way, just like life.
Yeah.
As Jeff Goldblum put
it. Like Jeff Goldblum said.
Yeah.
Well, they get the big top, and of course, the fucking guys. He's like, Mr. Smiley. Oh, late fees are gonna be on here, and he's just like on the computer, like fucking so excited to fucking look him up, and just all the different fees, and then he pulls it out. He's like, not rewound. Oh, charges.
And then he goes on.
So every single time somebody brings us, it's not like, oh fuck, I gotta rewind this and stuff. It's like, ooh, I could charge more.
and then that's when he grabs them. He says I'm never coming to your store again because your condescending calls, your shit selection,
He just goes on this
and all your fucking charges. And that's when Lieutenant Phillips walks in,
and then they have this huge mixed martial arts with gunplay fight inside there.
At some point, 2 blades, sword fighting kind of stuff.
Yeah, all this kind
really
of cool
stylized.
actions.
Really, a really well made action scene.
Yeah, really badass.
That's what kind of reminds me of Hot Fuzz about it, because Hot Fuzz isn't jam packed with action, but the action that's in it is really cool.
Well, the reason it's what I always liked about all 3 of those movies, Hot Fuzz, and fucking
Shaun of the Dead and World's End,
is. Even though you could say they're comedies, but they realistically are their genre, Shaun of the Dead, it's really a horror movie. They just happen to have kind of 2 stupid guys in it, which is what makes it funny. It's not a comedy first and foremost, it's actually a comedy second. And same with Hot Fuzz. It's really just a police movie that just happens to have guys that crack jokes. At the end of the day, it's not it's not like a comedy first and foremost, and that's what I love about it. And you can almost say the same thing of this movie too. It's legitimately an action movie, but it's got just a lot of comedy thrown into it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you can have these action scenes, you can kind of believe them, and they actually take them full on. Let's make a badass action scene. Let's not make it comedic. Let's make it pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But then they get to one of the best jokes probably the entire movie, because they start fighting everywhere, and all of a sudden they're on the top level of the video store, and they're fighting back and forth and everything like that. And then they come up and they both stop and they look up. And there's a picture of Bookeem's character up there, and it just says the adult section, our best customer ever, and it's just him giving 2 thumbs up. This huge picture of him. It's hilarious.
And then you just go back to fighting. And one other thing, I'm wondering what this is about. At some point they're jumping and fighting on the chandelier. There is a bunch of trauma movies all over that chandelier.
Well, that probably is where they got some of
Romeo and Juliet.
They probably Trauma probably through down some money for this movie.
They probably help with some of the production.
There's an Air Force One poster in there too.
Yeah. There's they probably help with some of the production, or wouldn't surprise me if it was some crew from Trauma was in on this movie.
Yeah, I'm guessing somehow, some way, obviously some money came from Trauma.
I mean, let me put it this way. I mean, not entirely. I think it still feels more of a mass marketed kind of 90s action movie with a lot of weird combinations. I do see kind of a little bit of a Trauma vibe to it, just for how over the top some of the characters are, though.
Yeah, I could see that, so that would make kind of sense. Well, this movie's only a $13 million movie, so it was a little bit of a low budget movie, and then it made quite a bit. It made $30 million.
But it looks kind of and I mean, not saying that it was a massive movie, but it looked like a. It kind of looked like a lot of. I mean, and that's not a bad thing. But it looked like a lot of 90s movies at the time. A lot of wide-release 90s films.
Well, and it still was kind of in a sense, the way. It took a couple of years for it to get ready, but, $13 million back then, that'd be almost $26 million nowadays. So It's not a super low-budget movie, but...
And then after this battle happens, I think Lieutenant Phillips has, a bomb on him or something, and something like that happens.
Something happens to make it blow up.
And he's running out of the store, and then just for that time for... Melvin's boss to roll up, and then he sees the boss, and he's like, oh shit, and runs back into the store like, no, Melvin, no, and explodes. And that's where we jump like a month or 2 months later or something like that. And we find out that Melvin survived because the stand...
I don't think it's even that long. I think it's only like a
few days or a week or
not
something.
even that long, I don't think. I think it's almost like only
it's
a
a
handful
little
of
bit
hours
time.
later.
Not even a handful of hours later. They said it was a minute. It had to be a minute for some of the stuff they did. I think it's a handful of hours later. Because she's already back in school. He had to call and reach out to his friend. They got a yacht suddenly.
Well, that comes back around too, because Blue Diamond Phillips, like the one nice thing he does say, he's like, you know what? Like after that bonus, he's like, I'll give you my yacht when I die. That's what I'll do for you. See, I'm a nice guy. I'm a nice guy. I'll give you that.
That's a good point.
So he does kind of come around like, okay, she's not the worst guy ever. He's still stuck to that.
Well, however long later it is, I'm guessing it's like a day or so, a few days later at least. Basically, the stand from like her father's movie fell on top of him and protected him from the
gold
explosion.
stand. Yeah, so he's able to survive.
And funny thing, when it explodes, you see the nerd outside like, no, not my store.
Which is hilarious. And yeah, he ends up surviving, and then Marky Mark shows up to pick her up in the limo, and it's there. And by this point, they've actually fallen in love and everything like that.
And they just run off together on the yacht.
Yeah, they go off together on fucking Lou Diamond Phillips' yacht.
Mm-hmm.
But fantastic movie. It was one of those ones like maybe when we talk about it, might seem like this kind of weird, different thing. And I will say it's definitely not a movie for everybody. You gotta like fun. You gotta like 90s. Because, anybody who's too serious of a movie person, I don't think would like this one. If you're too prestigious, like a person who's like, oh, I only like, the award-winning movies. Well, then you're not going to like this movie.
This is by no means an art house movie. And
it is literally like what you call a fun movie. It's like a guy's like buddy movie in a sense.
I'm surprised junk food cinema, maybe they don't like it, but I'm surprised this seems like something that would be on junk food cinema.
It doesn't really seem too much like their style. It seems more like our style, like kind of.
Well, if they could do an episode on Space Jam.
That's true. When they started doing some weird 90s ones like Space Jam and Mortal Kombat.
And then Judgment Night,
Yeah, I guess, I could see it not being too far off for them, but no, it is just one of those ones, like, if you like martial arts, gunplay, Marky Mark, the 90s, some ska music, almost even...
Well, even like some of the, like, when they open up, it just...
Tarantino, it's got so much stuff mixed into one.
The opening shootout, it's got some interesting things I don't remember seeing in a whole lot of movies up to that point, like... They kill the lights, and then Marky Mark runs there with night vision goggles, taking out everybody, just to give him like a leg up.
The part I liked was I love all of a sudden the bad guys all start having night vision goggles, like they knew this was gonna happen. But then Marky Mark throws like a flashbang out and takes them out and everything like that. It's just really fucking badass.
I mean, you see that stuff now, but I remember up to that point seeing that in a whole lot of movies, like that kind of thing. Well, I'm sure it has happened before.
Well, if you do think about it, for 1996, even though I know it didn't come out until 98, it's one of those movies like. Unless you watched a bunch of Hong Kong cinema, like for an American audience, this really was fucking brand new stuff. Because they're just like the action movies just hadn't got to that point yet, so it was kind of fresh and hip.
Like when it comes like that kind of like white guy interpretation of Hong Kong cinema, I think this one's better than Mission Impossible 2. I'm gonna say it.
Yeah, well, fun. They're both John Woo movies in a sense. Well, this one's John Woo produced, that one's John Woo directed.
Yeah.
But, no, I definitely better than Mission Impossible 2. I mean, I like Mission Impossible 2. It's my least favorite of the series, but, no, this one right here is just like, God, it's just so good. Every single time I watch it, I just always have a great time. It's like one of those movies I could always throw it on at any time, and it's just a good, fun movie. Tons of action, great comedy, great characters. You get probably one of the last Marky Mark songs. He's literally in the credits. You get a Marky Mark rap song. Probably like the last one he ever did.
His swan song.
Yeah. Just an awesome movie. Something that if you have not seen it, and if this podcast has not convinced you to go out and get it, well, I think you'll be missing out. Something to really check out. Well, till then, this is a good place to wrap it all up at. Check out oldmanorange.com for more podcasts, comics, movies, all that good stuff. And then, if you do want to buy this movie, we'll put a little link for the Amazon in the description. You can click that. It'll help support the podcast, but won't cost you any extra. Until then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan.
We'll see you some other time.
Later, folks.
Thanks for listening to the Old Man Orange podcast. Check out our website at oldmanorange.com for even more podcasts, cartoons, videos, music, and more. Send us an email at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe, share, rate, and review us on iTunes, Podomatic, or any of the other fine sites we might be located on. And if you want to help out even more, click on the Amazon or GameStop links on our webpage before you make any purchases there. Won't cost you a penny, but it sends us a little something our way. Thanks for listening, and tune in next week to Old Man Orange.